Now, from WYDC TV, this is Big Fox News at 10.
Good evening, I'm Anna Manuel. The holiday get-togethers usually come with a nice meal. Tonight, our Sonia Ellison tells us ways we can enjoy the holiday while staying healthy.
According to research from the Calorie Control Council, a typical holiday dinner can be a hefty 3,000 calories.
Does this look like a little weight to you?
Just watch the sweets.
Here's some tips to keep holiday weight gain at bay.
Lots of veggies.
Jessica Collier from Guthrie's weight loss team says pre-gaming with healthy foods before the get-together can prevent holiday overindulgence.
Because what happens is a lot of times we go to these holiday parties and we're like, oh, I'm going to save calories during the day. And then they overeat at the parties.
Prioritizing protein and vegetables can prevent a binge eating episode while leaving room for treats.
It's still get to enjoy your favorites. If you're eating something and you don't really like it just because it's there, those are some of the places where we start adding up calories that we didn't even enjoy the food.
Though brisk weather and less daylight may tempt you to be more sedentary.
Do what you can. Get out as much as you can and don't sit down for too long.
A reminder that this busy time of year, you don't need a lot of time or even the gym to stay in shape.
Get out and move as much as you possibly can, even if it's cold. Just a short walk around the block will keep you going.
What can you still do? Can you go out for a 15-minute walk on your lunch break? So it's trying to just take advantage of the little bits of time that we have.
If you feel you're not staying on track this time of year, don't give up and completely derail any healthy habits you've built.
We know it's going to be a little screwy around the holidays. It's not going to look like it normally does, but don't just abandon all your efforts for the next couple weeks.
Sonia Ellison, Big Fox News, the Southern Tier.
Wreaths Across America needs volunteers to lay wreaths on graves at Bath National Cemetery this Saturday. Attendees and volunteers should arrive by 11:30 a.m. so they have time to walk to the cemetery. Wreath laying will follow so guests can lay the over 3,400 wreaths on graves to honor veterans and their service. Refreshments will also be provided. Those interested can contact Linda Conway at the number on your screen. Woodbrook Assisted Living is having a job fair tomorrow and Thursday from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Job openings are available in resident care aides, housekeeping, dietary aides, and activities aid drivers. Open interviews will be given to those with completed applications. For more information, call Woodbrook Assisted Living. There and Back Collectible Shop in Savona has their annual Star Wars-themed Merry Sithmas event this Saturday, 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. There will be a book drive to benefit Savona's Benedek Memorial Library, as well as scavenger hunts all day, basket raffles, cookie decorating, free comics, pizza from King's Market, pictures with Santa, and so much more. Turning now to national news, President Biden and Ukrainian President Zelensky met at the White House today to discuss more funding for Ukraine as they continue to fight off the Russian invasion. But as Madeline Rivera reports, lawmakers on Capitol Hill are divided on the issue.
Congress needs to pass a supplemental funding to Ukraine before they give Putin the greatest Christmas gift they can possibly give him.
President Biden sitting side by side with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky in the Oval Office. The Ukrainian leader on a desperate trip to urge Congress to send Ukraine billions of dollars more in military aid.
I just signed another $200 million drawdown from the Department of Defense for Ukraine.
Zelensky spent the morning on Capitol Hill meeting with senators, where the mood was a little more chilly. Some Republicans don't want to give a cent to maintain Ukraine's borders until the White House cracks down on the southern border in the United States.
Our first condition on any national security supplemental spending package is about our own national security.
Zelensky's visit did not do much to sway them, despite his warnings that a failure to help Ukraine would be a boon to dictatorships.
People need to be confident that freedom is secure and strong enough to win.
The cracks in American support could threaten the broad international coalition that President Biden had built for Ukraine.
We've seen what happens when dictators don't pay the price for the damage and the death and destruction they cause.
As the president hosts Zelensky, some GOP members say the president should be spending more time instead talking to them.
The only thing that is really holding this up at this point is the unwillingness of the White House so far to acknowledge that they're going to have to deal with the border component.
The chances of reaching a deal before the end of the year are growing dimmer, which is when the White House had warned Ukraine funding could run out. In Washington, Mather Rivera, Fox News.
Court documents say former New York Congressman George Santos is negotiating a possible plea deal with federal prosecutors. Santos is facing 23 counts related to wire fraud, identity theft, and falsification of records, among other charges. He has pleaded not guilty. The U.S. House of Representatives voted to expel the disgraced congressman on December 1st after a House Ethics Committee report detailed how he allegedly misused campaign funds. The 311 to 114 vote was bipartisan. Santos is now the 6th person expelled from the U.S. House. Special counsel Jack Smith has asked the Supreme Court to rule quickly on whether former President Donald Trump can be prosecuted on charges he plotted to overturn the 2020 election results. A federal judge ruled the case could go forward, but Mr. Trump signaled he would ask the federal appeals court to reverse that outcome. Smith is attempting to bypass the appeals court with the request. Smith is trying to keep the trial currently set for March 4th on track. The earliest the Supreme Court would consider the appeal would be January 5th. On average, the National Fire Protection Association estimates that 150 house fires per year are a result of Christmas trees. Jackie Ibanez takes a look at what you can do to prevent that.
While the holidays are supposed to be merry and bright, it shouldn't be because your Christmas tree catches fire. Whether it's real or artificial, both types of trees can go up in flames if conditions aren't right. To help keep natural trees from drying up and becoming flammable, firefighter Jonathan Mead recommends an unusual trick: adding aspirin to the water in your tree base to improve water circulation.
When you take your Christmas tree in, if you cut the stump off and you put some aspirin in the water when you initially put it in there and keep it watered every other day, the tree will stay green.
When deciding the best location for your tree,
don't put it near your fireplace, don't put space heaters near it. You know, watch your electrical cords, because even though electricity, when it runs through cables, it still heats up.
the decorations donning your Christmas tree can also contribute to a blaze. Mead says you should invest in high-quality lights with a UL listing, meaning they were tested by science company Underwriters Laboratories for fire and electrical safety. Cheaper lights and ornaments aren't often inspected.
It's a safety issue.
Make sure you keep a fire extinguisher indoors just in case of an emergency, but if your tree does ignite,
the most important thing is your life over any piece of furniture, memorabilia, or anything is your life. So if you can't put it out quickly, exit the building and preserve the family.
You can also plug tree lights into a timer so they automatically go off every night, just in case you forget. Jackie Ibanez, Fox News.
Sunny and chilly weather may be here to stay for a while. We'll have more next in your complete forecast. Plus this.
Federal officials say they've busted 2 carjacking rings in and around D.C., while the major company is warning its drivers about the dangers on the road. I'm Caroline Shively in Washington. I'll have details straight ahead.
Now, your Twin Tiers forecast from Big Fox.
Good evening and happy Tuesday. We did have a beautiful blue sky day with some mild temperatures, but we were dealing with some of those gusty southwesterly winds, as what we're now watching is that due to those winds strengthening was because of a cold front dropping its way in, and that's going to allow for a few flakes to carry over into our forecast through tomorrow, as there is some lake effect that is ongoing. Not expecting high impacts, but we will take a look at that chance and where the best chance will come. And we'll note that we are, though, generally going to talk about more sunshine even through the rest of this week, and going to see that it's going to be paired up with some of those warming temperatures with some gusty winds. But then by the weekend, winds will calm down, but we are going to be a little cloudier, though holding temperatures still more mild. Now here as we roll into the forecast, as mentioned, there has been a frontal system dropping across the area, so that is triggering some lake effect, especially for Lake Ontario there in that more southeastern corner. We'll see that there's going to be a little steer of bringing some of those flakes farther down as we head into the afternoon and evening hours. So that's where maybe a few of those flakes will fall even into about Thursday morning. We can see there through the Finger Lakes. So looking at the potential accumulation, you can see some of that reflectivity there for the northern Finger Lakes region, just extending down to the local region for a flurry or two, but not expected to see any high impacts from this event. But what we'll watch is that even as we are watching a cold front drop in, we're still expected to keep some sunshine here again, as the lake effect through the daytime does stay a little bit farther to the north, spreads in by the end of the day. So generally with that blue sky, though, what we're seeing is that the westerly wind is going to keep those temperatures pulled back a bit. We were extending into those 40s today. Tomorrow, we're going to hold within those 30s, which is a near normal high temperature. But there will be a bit more of a chill in the air, as we are going to be noting that we have these gustier winds by the afternoon, getting upwards about 30 to 40 miles per hour. So with a high of 39 around that time, you could expect that feel like temperatures would be down to even those 20s through much of the daytime, even teens by sunset, as everyone is going to feel those 30-mile-per-hour gusts. And especially noted in the afternoon, that's also when the best chance for some flurries to fly across the area will be noted. But outside of that, generally that sunshine. Now, as we head into our Thursday forecast, it doesn't take long for the area to regain a southerly wind, and this is going to help to bring temperatures back up. Now, it's going to take some time to get out of that cooler air mass, so maybe a few spots into those 40s, but it will be much stronger reflection of those mild temperatures by Friday. And by Friday, what we're going to see is that those winds are going to try to pull back a bit. Not as gusty as expected for Wednesday, but still a few wind gusts up to about 20 miles per hour. But with those winds, what we'll see is that that's what's going to continue to help to promote that warming. So as we head into our Friday, we have a high of 52 degrees, and then into the weekend, we may stay a little cloudier, but we at least hang on to those upper 40s.